welcome everyone. This is post-lunch session, so I have to wake you all up. So I'll try my level best to do that. I'm audible, right? Good. So this is the Data and AI Summit for Databricks, and I'd start by saying that, Tredence has been the Databricks Partner of the Year for last 3 consecutive years, 2022, 23, 24. So there has to be something different about us that we're doing things with Databricks. So yes, for sure, there are. And we have some secret sauce. We're going to talk about some of those today so that you guys can leverage. My name is Anupam Wahi. I'm the Chief Business Officer at Tredence, taking care of telco, media, and tech business. I want to thank one of my key stakeholders at T-Mobile, Hitesh, Punjani, for being here. We've been working with T-Mobile extensively for the last 5+ years. So we'll talk a little bit about the journey with T-Mobile, and we're also going to talk about, in particular, one use case where we kind of enabled T-Mobile with a lot of stuff around data so that we could have done UC migration, Unity Catalog migration at scale. And as you can imagine, T-Mobile sees a lot more data that we can imagine. And so whatever we did with Unity Catalog, in fact, T-Mobile did with Unity Catalog, was done at scale. And Tredence was involved pretty much in getting the data to the place where it had to be. So we'll talk about that as well. And then we'll do a wrap up. And I'll see if there are any room left for a couple of questions also from the audience. So thank you all for coming to this session. Moving on to the next slide. This is pretty much the journey that we've had. Like I was saying, right, we've been 5 years with T-Mobile, variety of stuff that we've done. Before we get into what we do with T-Mobile and then we switch on to the use case around Unity Catalog that I was talking about, I also want to talk about 4 or 5 aspects of Tredence. Out of the 7 of the top 10 brands, Tredence is running the data strategy for them, and we're doing multiple things for them. So we feel proud about what we're doing with the industry at wide. We're bringing that value to tech, media, and the high-tech sector, as I was talking about. We've been recognized by Forrester and many other publishers and analysts who see us as a key data player going forward, specifically as the journey towards generative AI goes. The investment that we've done in the last 10 years on data science, ML, is all coming together because underlying data problems are the enabler to the generative AI execution that we want to see. So we are kind of invested in that, and we are going forward on that journey, given our last 10 years of investment in this segment. Advent International is one of the private equity companies, top 5 private equity companies, which kind of invested in Tredence like a year back, 2023, which is allowing us to now expand rather quickly. And we are now expanding beyond retail CPG segment. That was our last 5 years of investment with Databricks in particular, where we built 200+ accelerators on variety of aspects solving business problems. We're now going across the patch and building our business beyond. And I think Advent International and the investment that came from them has helped us to grow larger at the industry level. So that's just about Tredence. Some highlights, and we're going to also cover what we do with T-Mobile. So 5 different areas where we are engaged with T-Mobile. Obviously, IT is one area where we did a lot of migrations that happened from on-prem into cloud early on, and we were engaged as a cloud agnostic partner to help them migrate kind of applications that were on-prem. There was a mixed bundle of applications because of the M&A that happened in telecom. The nature of the telecom industry where data was sitting into applications was also kind of broken. So we kind of brought together in one cloud or in a hybrid cloud architecture, but we were enabling them, and we were not just doing it by throwing bodies at it, but we were giving the tech to do that faster and more efficient way. In the consumer organization, we all realize and imagine or remember that Sprint and T-Mobile merger happened. There's a lot of real assets that existed there, which were talking about what stores we retain, what stores we close. We had to have a strategy and method to that madness. So we worked with the data science and data in front of us and helped T-Mobile optimize their real estate assets, which yielded huge amount of benefit for T-Mobile. For all purposes, I'm not talking about the number, but you guys can imagine when we are doing real estate optimization where that number could be. So the $3 sign is for you to imagine what kind of savings we gave to T-Mobile, but that was one of the marquee projects that we did with them. On marketing front, we're doing things that we are doing with emerging products. There's a lot of new things that are happening, and we will talk about it in the next session, hopefully. Data science partners for dev teams. On the network side, you see the network data in telco is very different to the data that we see all around us. And it is contextual and it is domain centric. So it's not easy to manifest insights from a network data and connect to the business problems. And business problems or the users of telecom are the same users which actually see the retail world, the CPG world, the e-commerce world. So you got to manifest the network data and bring it down to a point where you can consume it for use cases that are business centric. So we are the enablers which connects between what the network says or what the network data says, and that's where the last mile play comes to connect to the business insights. That's what we do with the network teams at T-Mobile. Finance is an area where you have a lot of data, and we are working on optimizing, saving money, but at the same time, we are making finance data more relevant to take decisions, to take business decisions. So that's how we are engaged on the finance side. And finally, we work on the business front, which is like churn management, customer retention, customer experience improvement for the people that engage with T-Mobile and their assets. So, these are areas where we engage with T-Mobile, but I would now go back to the use case that we wanted to talk about, which was the Unity catalog migration that T-Mobile did at scale. Tredence was involved in prepping the data ingestion in particular, bringing from different sources and prepping the data so that the UC catalog migration could have been done at scale. So I invite Hitesh here to take over from here and talk about that use case.
It drops.
So you have to keep on moving this.
Over to you, Hitesh.
Hey everybody, my name is Hitesh Punjani. I'm Principal Data Engineer at T-Mobile. Today I'm going to spend time on explaining how we migrated our datasets from Hive Metastore to Unity Catalog. For those who are not aware, Unity Catalog is the metadata management service provided by Databricks, and you can use it to manage your data, have data governance on top of it. Let's start with the use case. Current state, which is the state where we had the datasets in Hive Metastore, tables created under schemas in Hive Metastore across different workspaces by different teams, having multiple sources of truth. This is a common problem in any organization that where we have multiple data engineering teams. You will find multiple sources of truth, and it becomes very difficult to find the true source of truth that the data science team or the reporting teams can use. Longer SLAs in data discovery and access for data exploration, because data is becomes very disorganized across different workspaces. It eventually increases the timelines in getting faster access to data and exploring the data. Our desired future state is to use Unity Catalog for having a unified metastore for organizing data, having a single source of truth and reduce data duplication. That will help to reduce the storage cost and the compute cost, faster data accessibility, so that the data can be easily accessible for user personas like data engineers, data scientists, data analysts, or business analysts. Okay, let's talk about the process on how we migrated from Hive Metastore to Unity Catalog. There are some prerequisites. First is the Databricks Workspace and the clusters should be UC enabled. This is something that the platform team or the admin team can do. You can use the Databricks cluster in shared mode or single user access mode. The user running the Databricks job should have the use catalog and the create schema access. So when you're running a job to migrate the datasets, the user should have access to catalog. Set Spark config using the service principal or storage credentials to authenticate against the storage, and it should have read-write access to the external storage location. Steps involved: migrate existing datasets to UC from Hive Metastore. There are multiple methods of doing it. One of the method is using UCX, which is a CLI tool. Other method is to use the UI upgrade wizard. Third method is to use sync, which is more of like a SQL command, and you can use it with Python as well. In our case, we use sync. And the fourth method is clone, that only works for managed tables. Once you are like done with migration, next step is to do data validations, doing apple-to-apple comparison, row counts, make sure that the data sets are correct when you migrate it to UC. Enhanced data ingestion framework to create new tables in UC instead of Hive Metastore. So we had to enhance our data ingestion framework because earlier it was only writing data to Hive Metastore. Now with this new implementation, we have to make sure that when we are creating a table, like create table, catalog name dot schema name dot table name, so that it gets created in the catalog, not in the default Hive Metastore. You can still use to write in Hive Metastore, but then the problem is that you will have to keep syncing your data from Hive Metastore to UC if you're running daily jobs or if you're running like weekly jobs or bi-weekly jobs. Automation. So we did some automation to migrate data sets at schema level. You can do it at table level as well. It depends on your use case. But in our case, we did it at table level. We migrated like 100 plus data sets across multiple workspaces within a business day. Automation is done with a parameterized function to iterate over the list of schemas to migrate. And I will cover that in the next slide, where I will show some sample code on how we have written like a simple function that will iterate over the list of schemas and then migrate each and every table in that schema into Unity Catalog. Yeah, this is the sample code. So migrate schema UC, the first line, it's a function that takes 3 arguments: target catalog name, which will be the new Unity Catalog name; source catalog name, which will obviously be Hive Metastore; schema names is a list of the schemas that you want to pass, that you want to migrate. So it's looping over the list of schemas, and for each schema, it is creating a schema query to create the schema. So first of all, we have to create the new schema in the Unity Catalog. So create schema if doesn't exist in the target catalog name dot schema name. Next is sync schema query, which is very important, which is actually doing the schema migration from Hive Metastore to UC. Grant access query. This is optional. We kept it so that we can do data validations later. You can give a list of users as well. It will give access on the schema, newly created schema in UC. And then the last 3 are the SQL commands that are running to run these queries to do the migration. And the last line is to call the function with the new catalog name, which will be the new UC catalog name, Hive Metastore, which is the source Metastore, and then the list of schemas, schema 1, schema 2, schema 3. These are just examples. And again, as I said earlier, if you want to still write in Hive Metastore, you have to keep syncing the data. You have to keep running the sync command. Advantages of migrating to UC. So yeah, these are the advantages that we found useful to us, like better cataloging and data discovery with UC. The data is cataloged and managed with better security, better auditing, data lineage. It minimizes data duplication because the data is organized under a single metastore. It promotes teams collaboration, which results in minimizing the data duplication because the teams have better visibility into the data sets that other teams are also working, which was not in the case of Hive Metastore because teams work in silos in different workspaces. It becomes difficult to know what the other data engineers are ingesting data from. Faster access to data across different workspaces. This one I found very useful with UC because earlier, if I'm trying to access a data set from a different workspace, I had to use select star from delta dot absolute path of the data where the table exists. But with UC, I can simply do select star from UC name dot schema name dot table name. As long as I have access to the catalog, to schema in the table, I will be able to directly access it, and UC will do the authentication for me with the storage account under the hood. Single source of truth. This is very important. It increases the confidence in the data with teams collaborating under the same metastore. It reduces data duplication and promotes creating of single sources from ingesting data from single source, not ingesting it multiple times. Improved because of all these advantages, it actually improves SLAs and time to market in doing exploratory data analysis, because the user personas like data scientists or ML engineers, they can get access to the data in very fast, and the time that is saved in getting access to data that can be used to build better data products. Yeah. With that, I'm done with my presentation, and I would like to thank Tredence, Anupam and team for helping us in last 5 years with our data operations and data ingestion activities. Handing it back to you.
So thank you, Hitesh. Thank you for doing this. I just want to wrap up by saying that, Tredence has an accelerator. Like I said, we have invested into tech which is called Unity Go, which allows you to do Unity catalog migration at scale. So just in case if you need any help around Unity catalog or for any kind of data needs that your organization has, please feel free to reach out to me and I'll be there. Hosang. Thank you guys for attending this. Hopefully this was informative, and see you around. Thanks.
Thanks everyone.